to wait for the picture. So stop it. I thought it was like Facebook playing to do it. Okay.
Wyclef Jean, BKS1 Radio. Let's go.
This is Essence Atkins, and this is BKS1 Radio.
Hi, this is Melba Moore, and you're listening to BKS1 Radio.
Yo, check it out. What's the deal? This the chef. Giving a big shout out to my peoples. Big KS, you already know what it is. Salute.
What's up? It's your girl Monifa, and I'm hanging with BKS1 Radio.
Hi, I'm Iyanla Van Zandt, and you're listening to BKS1 Radio.
BKS Radio, baby.
Hey, this is Jasmine Guy for BKS1 Radio.
What's going on? This is Lamont Rooker, and this is BKS1 Radio.
Shout out to BKS1, the best kept damn secret in the business.
Hey, what's up? This is Raven Goodwin from BET's Being Mary Jane, and shout out to BKS1.
Hi, this is Leon, and you're watching BKS1 Radio.
BKS1. God bless y'all.
Yo, we live?
Yes, we are.
Hi, welcome. It's Tuesday night, 9 o'clock East Coast, 6 o'clock Pacific time. You are now in the game. Ghost?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you, brother.
Oh. All right, let me see if I can fix that. I'll fix that up.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a live radio broadcast. As you can see, we are here to talk sports in the game. Welcome to In the Game. I am your co-host, Old Dog, the Stat Tech. As soon as he gets the video up and popping, you'll see him. Ghost Short Fuse, a.k.a. the Ghost, is coming in. So many things going on in sports. There you go. There you go. Well, we got two ghosts, one on the left and one on the right. That's double ghost night. We're having some technical difficulties, but that's how you know we're live.
There we go. I had to get the layout fixed up.
All right, there we go. We got the layout fixed up. What's up, Ghost? How was your week, man?
It was good, man. Can't complain. Can't complain at all. Little aggravated at the Yankees, but you know what it is. We'll get into that. I don't know what to think, Ghost, about anything going on in sports. It's such a weird time. I mean, when you think about it, it's September 1st, a week from Labor Day. We have NBA playoffs. We have baseball season. We have hockey playoffs. You got WNBA, and it's September 1st, and it's like this weird sort of. It's just 2020 is a weird year. But I've been saying my aggravation with the Yankees has been going back for like about a year or two now.
That long?
I really wish George was still here, man.
Well, I mean, that's obvious.
He ran the
Everybody,
team.
I think most Yankee fans wish that.
Yeah, he ran the team. He was the greatest owner in the world. He ran the team different. If he wanted something, he went for the championship.
Well, that was the cornerstone of George Steinbrenner and the Yankees throughout most of our lifetime.
Yeah.
But that has changed. But we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. We got some important things to talk about, Ghost. You know how it is. One of the most important things that we should lead off with is a sad story, but sports is life, and sometimes you have to deal with the sad stuff. And that is the passing of John Thompson. John Thompson Jr. to be exact, the legendary John Thompson. If you don't know who he is or who he was the legendary coach of Georgetown University, and he was the first black coach, African-American coach, to win a NCAA National Basketball Championship. Right. Now, Ghost, I'll let you lead off. What do you recall about John Thompson? What do you remember John Thompson?
He's my favorite coach of all time. Because he got me in. He's one of the reasons why I like Georgetown. Just the way he carried himself, his demeanor, how professional he was, how he was strict, but he knew how to be loose. I remember his camaraderie with Lou Carnesecca from St. John's, and they had the little sweater battles. Just the person he was and how great of a man he was. And what really solidified it for me was he was the only coach to give Allen Iverson a chance after he had that issue in high school. Everybody else turned their back on him, but he opened the doors.
We can discuss that because there were a lot of people that John Thompson helped.
Yes.
And predominantly young black men. When he came, Georgetown is a predominantly white university.
He had me thinking Georgetown was a HBCU.
You know what, Ghost? I'll be honest with you. When I was younger, I was not aware that Georgetown was not a black school.
I wasn't either until my father pointed it out.
I didn't know that until I got maybe into high school, maybe my sophomore year, because the whole basketball team was white, and they actually accused him of not recruiting white players.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, it was a big thing. They said John Thompson doesn't like white players. He doesn't want to recruit white players. But he had a focus. His focus was recruiting African American young men, black men from the Baltimore, D.C., Virginia area, and that was what he chose to do.
And Georgetown's a very good education.
Unapologetically, he did it.
Right, and they're a very good school for education-wise as well.
I've heard so many stories this week, and one of the things that I've heard people say is that when he recruited you, he never told you that you were going to play. He never told you how many minutes you were going to get. He never told you were going to start. What he did tell you is you were going to get a degree. I listened to Jay Williams talk about when Jay Williams, you know Jay Williams from ESPN and former Chicago NBA basketball player. He said that when John Thompson recruited him, he was, they were going through the recruiting process, and he told him straight up, he said, I won't be here in a year. Now think about that.
He told John Thompson he wasn't.
No, John Thompson told Jay Williams, I won't be the coach of Georgetown in a year.
Oh, wow.
I'm recruiting you, but I won't be here in a year, because he knew he was going to leave the program and retire.
Right. So at least he's being upfront and honest with the players, saying that, you're not going to have me for your time being here. You're going to have me for 1 year and then I'm leaving. A lot of coaches wouldn't do that.
Most coaches wouldn't do that. You know that, especially football coaches, but we're focusing on basketball. Now, Ghost, my fondest memories of Georgetown are the battles. The Georgetown St. John's battles.
Yeah.
The Georgetown Syracuse battles. Georgetown Seton Hall. You remember those games that used to come on Saturday, 2:00, Monday nights? Those were the days of the Big East Conference.
That's when the Big East was basically controlling Big East and ACC at the time was controlling basketball, college basketball.
Absolutely. The Big East was the most powerful basketball conference at that time. They were like the SEC of football. They were the Big East of basketball, and the ACC was another powerful basketball conference. Yep. And
it's sad to see it broken up.
It's very sad to see it go.
And at that time, you would have never saw that happening.
Never saw it happen. And I don't think you see that in today's NCAA basketball. Do you think, what's the power conference? Where do they have those battles?
It's got to be just the ACC. Duke, North Carolina.
Yeah. I guess you're right.
But then you can go down to I think it's kind of spread out if you think about it, college basketball with the conferences, because now you got like Auburn's pretty good, Alabama's pretty good, LSU's been good, so SEC is. I don't think there's really one dominant conference anymore to the level of what the Big East was back then.
Well, I think one of the things. Hold on, let me get this camera right. I'm trying to fix this. There we go.
There we go. A little more.
Yeah.
Yep. Now you're in the middle. There you go.
Okay. There we go.
Nope, you moved it back.
Yeah. Let me move it back a little bit. Hold
Other
on.
way.
Let me clean this sucker. I'm sorry. This is a professional shop, so we got to keep it clean.
Yeah. Turn it the other way a little bit.
This way?
Yep. A little more.
This way. There we go.
A little more. There we go. Right in the middle. Right there.
All right. Now in the middle.
Yep.
Okay. Now, one of the things, Ghost, that they talk about with John Thompson is the fact that he graduated 97% of his players.
I believe Allen Iverson was the first player not to go 4 years.
Right.
I believe he was the first one.
And, tell the people the story of Allen Iverson in case they're not aware of it.
Well, he was, I believe he was, I want to say, I'm just gonna say top 5 recruit in football and basketball in high school coming out of Virginia. I'm not sure which town. I want to say Norfolk. I can't remember exactly which town.
Yeah, Norfolk, Virginia, I believe it was.
In high school, he went to him and his friends went to a bowling alley one night. They got into a fight. Some people got injured. He got arrested because he was the big name. So at the time, he was being recruited by, I want to say, all the major colleges in the country. And at that point, they all withdrew their offers and basically turned their back on him. And John Thompson was the only one that offered him a scholarship and took him in.
Well, he offered him a scholarship because
his mother went there. Because in Allen Iverson's Hall of Fame speech, he said how his mother went to Georgetown to speak to John Thompson and begged him, and he let him in. He agreed and gave him a chance. He said he basically thanked him for saving his life.
Right, and that's I think that's the testament of who he is and who he was. But also, not only saving young men's lives, young black men, but to graduate 97% of your players.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Think about crazy. That. What other coach can say that? I don't know that.
What other big time coach?
Yeah. Division I coach.
If we're gonna step outside of Princeton, probably none. I mean, if you're gonna step outside of the Ivy League schools, I would probably say none's gonna say 97%.
Yeah, I mean that is unrealistic even at that time. I just remember. But who's your favorite?
What I also liked about him, the way he played, he coached to his talent.
Mm-hmm.
Like at first he was Georgetown was the big man school. We had the lineage from Patrick Ewing to Alonzo Mourning to Dikembe Mutombo. So the offense basically ran through the big men. But when Iverson got there, he switched it up. The offense ran through Iverson. He gave him more of a free reign. It wasn't as rigid of an offense. So he was adaptable, and he played to the strength of his talent.
Yeah, very true. I was going to ask you, who's your favorite? Well, let me say this. Give me your top 3 favorite all-time Georgetown players under John Thompson.
Oh, Allen Iverson, and Allen Iverson. No, Allen Iverson, Patrick Ewing, and Alonzo Mourning.
I'm gonna tell you my top 3 would be my favorite player from that era. I think it was Reggie Williams.
Yeah, Reggie Williams was tough.
I thought he was just a smooth basketball player, and I wanted to model my game after him.
You know who I like too? What was the guard? He threw the ball away in the championship game. He passed it to North Carolina.
Fred Brown, wasn't it?
Was that his name? I got to look up his name. But yes, I liked him too because he was a steady point guard. I mean, that's what he was remembered for, that one mistake, but he was steady and consistent.
That conference was so stacked when you think about Q's had they had Derek Coleman, they had
Pearl Washington.
Pearl Washington. I would go Ewing, Reggie Williams, and Michael Graham with an honorable mention to David Wingate. I love David Wingate too. I thought he was a good ball player.
Wingman. Yeah, he played good on the wing.
Yeah, Reggie Williams was a smooth shooter. I love that. I was a Georgetown fan when I was younger. I think a lot of young black men were.
I was a huge Georgetown fan. I mean, that was my favorite school.
Reggie Williams, David Wingate were on the same team with Muggsy Bogues in Baltimore at Dunbar High School in Baltimore.
Oh, wow.
They went 29-0 Ghost in 1 year, and then went 31-0 after Wingate graduated.
Well, Dunbar has been historically good, in basketball for the longest.
Yeah, I mean, you think, and John Thompson knew where he had to find the talent, because Wingate was scheduled to go to University of Maryland, but instead he decided to attend Georgetown. Now, one of the things that I saw recently goes,
you know what? I hate to cut you off. I don't want to hear anybody talk about this. Oh, he doesn't like white players and he just recruited black players. Do we need to go back to the Jim Crow eras and talk about how long it's been before they wouldn't even recruit a black player to go to these schools? Well, black players couldn't go to them. So I don't want to go cry a river, build a bridge, and get over it. You're going to talk about a coach who's just looking out for one people because you had that privilege for all these years.
12 years before John Thompson got the job, Georgetown didn't have any black players. Think about that.
Probably didn't have many in the school.
Well, you said it. I think you're accurate in that. Probably not very many in the school itself. So we live on Facebook. Where are we live at?
Yes,
right
we're
now?
live on Facebook, Twitter.
How come I can't find it?
We're live on in the game page, right?
I'm looking on in the game page too. That's where I'm looking.
It's right
I'm
there.
not finding it.
The video's right there. Yo, what up, Aug's in the chat.
What up, Og? How come I can't find it? I can't see it because I wanted to be able to live, make sure we address any comments in chat and that sort of thing.
What's the name? Terrence Wilson said Patrick Alonso on AI. Said Freddie Brown. He said Bob Wade was the coach.
Who was the I guess who's the best player to come out of Georgetown? Would it be Ewing or would it be AI?
No, it's not Ewing. It's not Ewing. It's not Clank. It's not the one who had a chance to win the game and bounced it off the back of the rim.
We're talking about his college career, not his pro career, Ghost.
Allen Iverson. That's my answer for if you're going to say who's the greatest player to play under John Thompson, Allen Iverson.
So wait a minute. What you're telling me is that Patrick Ewing played 4 years of college basketball.
Yes.
Won a national championship.
Yep. Had good people around
and you're going to say that Allen Iverson was a better college basketball player at Georgetown than Patrick Ewing?
Yes.
I don't know that I agree with that.
Because a championship is a team accomplishment. It's not individual.
And? Who was the leader of that team?
Patrick Ewing.
Okay.
But he still can't win it by himself.
Well, I didn't say all that.
He had good players around him.
I don't know. I think Patrick Ewing is the greatest Georgetown player to come out of there under John Thompson. But on TNT the other night, they Chuck, I don't know if Ernie did it, but Chuck, Kenny Smith, and Charles Barkley all had a towel draped over his shoulder, which was kind of the signature for Big John Thompson because he would sweat a lot. So he had this towel.
Yep, he had the big towels. Like Tarkanian had the towel he used to bite, but John Thompson had the big one. That he had like a beach towel, how tall he was.
I've heard so many stories about John Thompson because they say John would try to intimidate you. Coach would try to intimidate you to see how you reacted. And Bomani Jones was telling a story. He said he wanted to make a comment to John Thompson, and he saw him at an event. So he went to open the door, and he said, Coach Thompson said to him, "Well, thank you for being a gentleman." And Bomani said, whatever he made his comment, and Thompson goes, "Oh, so you wasn't really being a gentleman. You just wanted to say that." And Bomani was like, "Well, yeah, I kind of was." So, and all the stories say that he would call you out and really try to intimidate you.
He's an intimidating figure.
Absolutely. The crazy. You want to talk about intimidation?
We're going to talk good about him.
You want to talk about intimidation, Ghost? Michael Wilbon told the story. He said that one day Coach Thompson calls him up to his office, in D.C., and he says, "We're going to look for somebody." And Thompson was looking for the legendary drug dealer in D.C., big-time drug dealer called Rayford Ellsworth, I think his name is. And they didn't find him that night, but I guess what was happening was this suspected drug dealer was hanging out, or his players were Georgetown players were hanging out, because, he's big time, he got money, Lonzo Mourning, and he said he summoned Rayford to his office and told him, "Stay away from my players." Think about that. This is one of the biggest drug dealers. He's a alleged, I think he was convicted, but I'll say alleged drug dealer in the D.C. area. And John Thompson calls him into his office and says, "Stay away from my players."
He was actually a man of integrity. Unlike a lot of coaches who let their players hang around people with money and influence, which is what brought down the Miami Hurricanes back in the day and a lot of other programs. He wanted to keep his players. He actually, I guess he wanted to keep his word when he told the parents that he was going to take care of their kids if they came to school.
And you think about that, Rayford Ellsworth, DC drug dealer, Rayford Ellsworth. And when you think about that, you think about, it reminds me of the situation with, his name is slipping my mind. Oh my God, Aaron Hernandez. What's the coach's name that was there? Urban Meyer have done to prevent Aaron Hernandez from getting in trouble? No. Did he do all he could have?
I don't know. I don't know if you can.
There were reports that he knew of the trouble that the young man was getting into at the time, and he helped to, I won't say cover it up, but minimize the trouble that he got into. So if you can help minimize the trouble, i.e. the police didn't really get involved, they sort of looked the other way on certain things.
I mean, it happens all over at college campuses where the players get certain treatment because they get stuff pushed under the rug, get it dusted off, get it not looked at. That's what happens. Football and basketball doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right, but that's just life. Basketball is a lot easier to keep up with 12 people than football when you're trying to keep up with what? How many people on a football team?
But you spoke about integrity, and that's what I'm talking about. Integrity. You know,
could John Thompson have done that if he was keeping up with 90 players? I don't know.
That's a factor, and I thought about that.
I don't know.
When you only have 12 players, it's probably a lot easier to keep tabs on them, understand what they're doing, figure out where they are versus, a 90-player NCAA football roster.
And then it got to depend on the player that you're dealing with. The player has to be willing to make the change too.
Yeah, I just wonder what other coaches are or aren't doing to help their players in this day and age when a coach like John Thompson Jr. was doing those things, i.e. meeting with a drug kingpin, if you will, to tell him, look, stay away from my player. I just think that is, that proves.
That he had met with him, but then John Thompson's been in D.C. for a long time. He's an intimidating figure. Who knows who had John Thompson's back? Who might have put some more pressure on the guy? So who knows the whole backstory behind it?
Yeah, you're right.
Because what would he have done if he had said no? Your players are adults. They can hang out with me if they want.
Yeah, but
I mean, it's got to go.
And all was good.
It's got to go both ways. But I also think the players might have respected John Thompson more than the players say respected Urban Meyer and his authority.
You think so?
I think so.
Oh,
my cousin said it was Rayford Edmonds. I think he said, right? That's what you said, Rayford
Ellsworth. Ellsworth.
Oh, okay.
That's an interesting point because you're right. Maybe the players were more willing to listen to Coach Thompson than they were to other players because maybe they felt like he had their best interests at heart. He was looking out for them, and they could identify with him in ways that they can't identify with other coaches.
Or maybe they weren't really like because it goes back with Aaron Hernandez. We use that example of how he was in high school. His reputation coming up too. So maybe the players that John Thompson recruited weren't really that street. They didn't have that ego, that same type of personality.
Right. All right. Listen, well, rest in peace, John Thompson.
Yes, will be missed.
He gave us a lot of memories.
Look, his legacy got his son a coaching job.
That's right.
At Georgetown.
John Thompson III.
And, well, we ain't going to talk about how that turned out. That hurt my heart.
Why? He had some success.
Did he?
He didn't have the success of his father. He didn't have the success that Georgetown fans hoped for.
Not been the same. Georgetown basketball has not been the same.
Well, no. What do you think about Patrick Ewing continuing the legacy and the connection for John Thompson? I mean, that's still going on.
He's coaching.
Patrick is there.
He's
as head coach.
Oh, I love it. I love it that he's there because of his legacy with Georgetown, but I also hated the fact that Patrick Ewing has to go down to college to be a head coach, I guess to prove the NBA teams that he can be a head coach after all these years, being an assistant head coach in the NBA. I think they're shortchanging him, and he has to go down there and prove. Well, it's not shocking. He has to go prove it that he's worth being a chance to get a head coach in the NBA.
I'm gonna make a quick change. I'm gonna change this camera view because it's bugging me. I can't do what I want to do. So hold on 1 second. Let me just fix that. All right, there we go. Because when I'm looking, I can't see your face and I can't see the reaction.
Oh, okay,
so,
got you.
I'm looking at the camera instead of looking at, now I can see you. All right. Well, R.I.P. to John Thompson, a great man lost. Ghost, let's switch gears. There's no easy way to segue, but let's talk about the NBA. The NBA is hot right now, Ghost. We got to – what do we have? Let me see. Where are we now with this series?
Which one?
Wasn't there Game 7 tonight?
Yeah, it's Game 7 tonight. I was just looking at that. It's Denver, Utah.
Yeah. Here's the problem that I have, Ghost,
right now,
sports.
Denver's up 46-30.
Here's the problem with me with living on the West Coast and watching sports.
Your time's off.
The time zone is really
think about it. You got to get up at 9 o'clock in the morning on Sundays to watch NFL now.
Yes. Well, 10 because 1 o'clock games, unless it's 12 o'clock.
You got to get ready.
It is a crazy experience to like games come on out here at 3:30, 5 o'clock in the evening, and
that's weird.
They're over at 8:30, so it's like, wait a minute, I missed the game?
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I still haven't adjusted. My body still hasn't adjusted to the time difference. Believe it or not, I've been out here 6 months, and my body still hasn't adjusted. Like, I wake up every morning at 5 o'clock without an alarm clock because my body's still thinking it's 8 o'clock, and it's crazy. It's just a crazy experience as it relates to time.
Look at it this way. At least you get to see the major fights at 8:30 at night instead of having to wait up till 11:30 for the first round.
That's true. That's a good point. I didn't think about that. I'm going to focus on the positive. And you brought up the NFL. Let's segue. We'll get back to the NBA because it's what are you at halftime right now? I can't even see.
It's second quarter. Denver's up 46-30. 2 minutes left in the second quarter.
I mean, they got a battle going on between Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray. These cats are battling.
Jamal Murray is tough, man. He won me my fantasy league 1 year. He can score.
He's only got 6 points tonight on 3 of 6 shooting, but a lot of ball game left to play, and we'll see how that turns out. Last night, man, Russell Westbrook fell apart in the final 90 seconds of that game.
Yeah, he had a rough one.
He had a rough one, man. I felt for him. And then, hold on. Then, after the game, they interviewed Chris Paul, and he was just throwing shots. He was like roasted him. I mean, he threw so much shade. Let me see if I can pull the sound on that. He was talking about, they said, well, how do you feel? He's like, well, some guys are built for this, some guys ain't. He's like, we got a lot of misfits over here. A lot of guys have been traded.
Well,
he's like, but he was throwing all kinds of shade.
Because he feeling some kind of way because Houston got rid of him.
Oh, he definitely felt some kind of way.
So it's a little extra. It's a little extra spice, and everybody counted OKC out. Like, they didn't think OKC had a chance when they got Chris Paul.
Listen, I think D'Antoni's coaching for his job.
No. You know what? I'm not even going to believe that.
You don't think so?
D'Antoni's coaching for his job everywhere. He coached for his job at Phoenix, didn't look good there, got a job with the Knicks. Coached for his life at Knicks, didn't look good there, now he got a job in Houston. Where has D'Antoni ever done very well at?
Well, that's then.
So he's going to get another chance. So he's not going to coach.
Keep getting jobs.
Wonder why.
He failed at the Knicks. He failed at Phoenix, and he's not had the success that I'm sure the Houston fans have wanted.
I wonder why. And he keeps getting another chance. It's like everybody's lined up as soon as he comes out.
And I've heard his name for the Pacer job. I've heard that if he gets fired from Houston, he'll be in line for the Pacer job.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Where actually you have coaches who built teams who can't get a second shot for some odd reason.
Oh, man, I don't know who you're talking about. But I
built
live
one
in
of
the
the greatest
dynasties
in the world. But they just wanted like, oh, he didn't have nothing to do with it. It was Steve Kerr made him the best. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, really.
Come on, man. That's why I say D'Antoni is never coaching for us. He has another job lined up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to him. Sure, it'd be great to win a championship, but he'll always have another job.
And Mark Jackson
can't sniff another job for whatever reason.
Patrick Ewing can't get a shot in the NBA. Like you said, he had to go back to college.
Terrence in chat said privilege. Exactly. Yeah, you got to go back to college to try to get a chance to prove he can coach.
And they make all these excuses to say, well, big man can't coach in today's game, and Mark Jackson's too abrasive. Well, D'Antoni hasn't had any level of success as it relates to championships. He'll get you to the playoffs, but he can't get you to over the hump.
Exactly. But that's good enough for some people.
Is it?
For some.
Well, let's talk about the other game that played last night. Game 1 of the series, Miami and Milwaukee. Miami comes out and stuns Milwaukee in Game 1. Technically, Milwaukee is the home team, so by that logic of the old school logic, Miami stole Game 1.
Yeah, they did because they were down. They were down big at one point. And they ended up
I watched some of that game, man.
Jimmy Butler took off. He took control of that fourth quarter.
Is Jimmy Butler as good as he played last night?
Yes. But I don't think he plays with that same aggression for 48 minutes.
Can he do that for let me rephrase that. Can he do that throughout the series?
No. I don't think any player can do that for 7 games. Because it's a lot to put on somebody's shoulders to say, look, for us to win, you're going to have to do this every single night. You can't have an off night because if you do, we're not going to win.
Giannis had a bad game.
I think Miami can pull upset off and beat the Bucks because Miami's a tough team. They got a good balance. They play good defense. And I just don't trust Milwaukee's secondary players besides the Greek Freak to be consistent enough.
Well, speaking of the Greek Freak, he was 4-12 shooting last night. He only had 18 points. Actually, Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez outscored him and had a better plus-minus than him. He did not have the game that they need him to have. He only shot 50% from the line, 10 rebounds. He had 9 assists. So he had close to a triple-double, but not the best performance and not what you need. If he throws up another 8 points, you at 115, 112, you get a bucket. This might be a different game.
Oh, yeah. If he hits his averages, I think they win. And
as the reigning MVP, he's got to play better. Yeah. He simply has to play better. You can't go out there and score 18 on 4-12 shooting. That's unacceptable for a reigning MVP.
Yeah, he had a bad game.
Yeah. But now, I hear a lot of people after Game 1. What are your thoughts on after Game 1? I don't think he has that many bad games. Are the Bucks in trouble? Are the Bucks, should they be concerned? Or is
No, it's one game. I think he had a bad game. I guess everybody was concerned when the Lakers lost to Portland the first game too, huh? Then that turned out.
Listen, you know what's funny about that?
One game is one game.
I listened to a clip of all these analysts talking about how the Lakers were in trouble. Charles Barkley said Portland's going to sweep them if they win Game 1.
Yeah.
People make ridiculous statements on the backs of one game, but I guess that's and nobody really holds them accountable. Stephen A. made comments about Portland defeating the Lakers. Lakers in trouble. Like you said, Ghost.
You know what it is? Because people want sensationalism. They don't want the truth. They don't want to be just told that. That's boring. You go out there and say, "Oh, it's only one game. They got time to come back. It's only one. Let's slow it down." They got to come out there with these different takes every day, every game.
Oh, why?
Because it makes it sound good. Oh, Lakers gonna get swept. Then the Lakers gonna be, oh, Portland's in trouble. They don't do this. It can't be that way every single game. Every game ain't do or die.
Isn't it though? It's the playoffs, man.
You don't want to
give games away.
You don't want to give games away, but elimination games are when it's do or die. If you lose one game, you can still come back and win. And that was proven back when the Yankees had Boston down 3-0, and Boston came back and won. It's not do or die until it's elimination.
I hear you. I mean, I'm the same way. I'm a more rational fan, if you will. Obviously, when you hear when you're up 3-1, you like to believe that you're going to win that series. But Boston proved that just because you're down 3-1 doesn't mean that you're going to win. One game at a time, as they say. Terrence in chat said, my Spurs have lost the first game in series and still win championships.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler goes to sleep during games. It's too much for me.
I like Jimmy Butler, but I think he I don't want to say he plays passive at too much sometimes, but I think he's almost like, remember like at some points in LeBron's career, he likes to play, he wants to feed everybody else, get everybody else in the game, where at certain parts of the game, you need to take over. Like a bad shot by you is better than a good shot by somebody else at times because you are the star. And
isn't that what Jimmy Butler has done now?
Well, yeah, that's what he's doing.
That's a statement game, as people like to say. That's a statement game, ain't it?
Yeah, and he did it. He did it the last game when he was in Philly, that with the Kawhi lucky bounce 3-pointer or jump shot at the end. He took over that game as well. But I think he's getting to the. I think now in the playoffs, he's going to get to the point where he has to take over. He knows when he needs to take over. Like he said in the press conference, he told me he's probably not going to be passing that much in this quarter. And I think with that young team, there's going to be times where he needs to say, I'm taking the shots, I'm the man, and I'm going to do it.
They're talking about also Dragan. What's it? Dragan.
Oh man, I know. He's just
Dragic. Goran Dragic. I'm sorry, I got the names mixed up. He had 27 last night.
And he is
busting him up in the bubble.
I'm a Heat fan, right? They gave him $82 million. Because I never argue with somebody makes, but I just think he's just not consistent enough. Like he has it in him. Like the 27 points you saw, he has that in him to do it most nights. But he'll give you 27 and then come back next game and give you like 12.
Well, that's what they were saying. I was listening to reports and they were saying that he's got 5 20-point games in the bubble. Meanwhile, when outside the bubble, I think he's had 2 in the last, I forget what it was, maybe a couple of years or something.
Yeah, he's just not consistent. And before he got the big contract, he came from Phoenix. He looked very well. He's just not consistent. He's like I said, he'll give you 20-something one night, 12 the next. And then
I'm shocked. I'm shocked at this game because I didn't really look at the box scores until just now. And really, this game comes down to Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, 36 minutes, shot 13 for 20, 2 for 2 for 3-point, 12 for 13, hit all but one of his free throws. I mean, Jimmy Butler really was the difference in this game because you would think, and obviously with Antetokounmpo not putting up his numbers and not playing to his averages, that hurt them. But you don't expect that to continue with Antetokounmpo, and you don't expect it to continue with Jimmy Butler. So you could say the Heat played as well. Did you, as a Heat fan, did the Heat play as well as they could, or do they have more in them?
I think they have more defensively in them, where they didn't have to get down by so much. I think Jimmy Butler and the Greek Freak can basically cancel each other out. Okay. It's up to the role players.
Terrence said Dragan is overrated.
The way he is overrated. I think it's going to be up to the role players who's going to step up more and be more consistent. You know what makes Butler so good?
What's that?
Is that he does it on both ends of the court. He can score, but he doesn't shy away from playing defense. He can pass. He can handle the ball. He's a good passer. Plays defense. He can score. He can play an all-around game.
What are your thoughts on the Clippers?
Clippers are tough, man. They just have their team is so deep. And if Kawhi and Paul George get hot, you already saw Kawhi can carry a team by himself with less talent. With as deep as that team is, they can give people some problems.
All right, let's talk about Boston and Toronto.
Yeah, 2 wasted franchises.
2 what?
They wasted franchises in the playoffs. What are they going to do?
Wait a minute. Boston's up 2-0 on Toronto, right?
Yeah, big deal.
You're not impressed by that?
Nope.
Why not?
Because I'm not impressed with Toronto without Kawhi.
Okay.
And Boston, I don't think Boston's good enough to beat. Boston may be able to beat Miami, but I don't think they're going to beat Milwaukee.
Well, Milwaukee's got to beat Miami first. And if they keep play like they did last night.
I don't think they're going to play like they did last night.
All right. Next Game 7 is coming up. I'm sorry.
Don't get me wrong now. I am a Miami Heat fan. I would love to see the Heat beat the Bucks. I just don't know if they're consistent enough with their secondary players to be able to do it for a whole series.
Well, the Heat are the only team in the NBA that beat the Milwaukee Bucks twice this year. Mm-hmm. They played them 3 times. They beat them twice. Nobody else who played them 3 times beat them twice. So, and they beat them in Game 1 in this playoff series. Yeah. So you never know. It's possible.
They can pull it off.
It's possible.
They can pull it off. I actually don't think Boston could beat either one of them.
You don't think Boston could beat the Heat?
No.
With the way they're playing?
No.
Listen, Boston looks good.
The Heat play defense.
Or maybe let me ask you this: does Boston look good, or does Toronto look bad?
I think Toronto looks like they look all the time without Kawhi. Inconsistent. They'll look great one night, and then they'll just look like they looked the last 2 games. Like it's not going to be as easy. I bet you Toronto probably wins the next 2 games. It's going to be 2-2 after 4 games.
You think so?
Yep. Because I just don't see my problem with Toronto. I think is they don't have that solidifying player. Like I think they underestimated how big Kawhi was for them. He was stabilizer.
Well, Siakam has come along and sort of been the guy that they go to, their go-to guy. He's played really well. They have small guards. When you look at them, Fred VanVleet and
are they consistent enough? You have to be the one. I mean, getting to the playoffs now is not really that rough, and the East is terrible. If you look at it on a whole.
Do you think that this championship will be? I don't know how to. Let me ask this question: is this championship more challenging or less challenging than any other championship, NBA championship? And by that, what I mean is, because they're in the bubble, and there's a different component of the bubble. They said guys have. Paul George talked about the mental aspect of it. He said he was in a dark place. We don't really understand as fans what these guys are going through. And it's easy for people to say, well, yeah, they're in luxury hotels. They have COVID testing. They are safe and blah, blah, blah. But they're also isolated. And I don't know what that isolation would feel like.
All right. They're isolated from their family. Yeah, you can't see them physically. But let's stop saying isolated like they're in solitary confinement, like they're in the FedEx Max prison in ADX. No, they have teammates living next door to them.
Yeah, but what about wanting to see your wife? What about wanting to see your kids?
I understand that, but it's not like you're not looking at a 20-year bid. You're going to be here 3 months. And they just let them all come to the bubble now anyway. They let them come to the bubble so they can see them. And I hate to say it, if you're an adult and you can't say, I could be away from my significant other because I got to go win a championship for 90 days, and you heartbroken. Come on, man. I don't know. Suck it up. I don't get it.
Wrong. I think that's wrong.
It's not like you're not going to see him forever. It's not saying he's going to jail 50 years. No.
Yeah, but didn't you hear what Paul George said? Paul George said. He said he was in a dark place. He said he was feeling,
Okay, what was he? He's in a dark place because he was away.
Because he felt isolated.
He's not on an island.
Listen, man, I don't know. I can't tell anybody how to feel.
I'm not telling anybody how to feel. I just think if you look at it like I'm only here for 90 days.
90 days goes. I know they're not in a max fed prison, but first of all, they've been there since what? July?
But also, if that was the case, if you don't think you could have handled it, you could have opted out.
No, Ghost, because you don't even know what there is to handle. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. This is a unique experience. And then once you're there for 35 days, you sitting in there like, oh, man, how many video games can I play? How many times can I hang out with my teammates? How many times can I go out to dinner? I just want to have a home-cooked meal from my wife. I want to hug my kids. I want to chill out on my couch.
After the week you was there, opt out.
Ghost, guys aren't going to do that because it's going to cost them a ton of money.
Well, then don't cry.
That's unfair, Ghost. That is totally unfair.
It's not. You made the choice.
No, I disagree with that.
Derek in chat said Ghost is right, but harsh. Terrence agreed. I mean, I'm saying.
Wait, Terrence agrees with that?
Yeah.
Come on, man. You can't agree with that.
Don't try to shame people and tell them what they can agree with. They can agree with my takes.
You sound like those fans you complain about.
No.
A little bit. Little bit.
Not at all.
I don't know, Ghost. You sound a little rough, man. These people are human beings, man. They have emotions. They have feelings.
People are complaining about when they opt out and say they don't want to play because, you should play because you're making millions. No. My thing is I think the players, once you go in a situation, you know what you're getting into.
No, you don't. See, that's the thing. You think you know, but you don't.
If you cannot, and I'm going to take this off the basketball players. If you're in your relationship right now, and you don't think that you can go 90 days without seeing the person you're with, y'all need to reevaluate something.
It's not that you can't go. It's that you don't want to go. I don't want to go 90 days without seeing my wife. Are you crazy?
We all do something we don't want to do, but you do it, right?
Yeah, but 90 days? If I was going that, listen. Let me tell you something. At no point. Now. Let me think about this.
You play.
Hold on.
You play professional.
Hold on. I know what you're gonna say. Hold on.
And you got a chance to win a championship because not all the teams are coming here. But we're gonna need a 90-day commitment so we can finish the season. You're gonna tell me, oh nah, I can't do it because I want a home cooked meal?
No, I'm gonna say this. For me, personally, I'm just speaking for me. It would be very hard for me to leave my wife for 90 days. But if I was going to get X amount of millions of dollars, I personally would say, look, as difficult as this is going to be, as hard as it's going to be, I have to get through this because it's going to benefit my family over the long term.
Exactly.
Say it again?
Exactly. And you know what technology? You got phones and FaceTime.
But here's the thing, Ghost. The issue is this. You have these NBA grown men superstars that are used to coming and going as they please. And now they're sort of stuck, even though it could be as expansive as you want to imagine, but it's not the same as your regular life. It's just not.
You'll be back to normal in 90 days.
Derek Martin in chat said, can you go 90 days without sex? I mean, if you have to, I'm not an animal.
Yeah.
I don't have to, I can live for 90 days. Of course, now after the 90 days, I don't know what's going to happen, but that's a story for another day. But you know what I'm saying? I just think that people are underestimating the mental, emotional, and maybe even spiritual effect that being isolated from your family and friends has on people. Well, and I think it's unfair. And again, Paul George said it, the bubble blues. They didn't understand what they were getting themselves into as it relates to the bubble. What? They thought they did.
What?
Huh?
How do you not understand?
How could you? Because you don't know. You've never done this before. This is unprecedented, Ghost.
Okay, no, it's not unprecedented. They told you exactly what it was going to be. You were going into a bubble where you cannot leave and nobody else can come in. You are going to be staying here until the end of the season. That is laid out for you exactly what it is.
Right. All that is all well and good. And you say, oh, yeah, I can handle it. Yeah, I got this. I'm good. And then you get in there, and on day 45, you're like, this is tougher than I thought it was going to be. This is wearing on my mental. I don't know how. I didn't think I was going to feel this way. Emotions change. So what you thought you were going to be able to handle, is it possible that somewhere along the line, things changed, and you no longer are handling it in the way that you originally thought you were? Or thought you could?
Yeah, it could.
I mean, that's possible, right?
Yeah.
So you can go into something with the best of intentions and then realize, man, this thing ain't working out like I thought it was. I thought this was going to be gravy. I thought everything was going to be love. I sit up here, play ball all day, hang out with my partners, everybody.
Know what that is?
I know you told me last week. It's the world's smallest violin.
Yeah.
What's up? Shout out to my brother-in-law, Mike Earps. Terrence Wilson said, I couldn't go 90 days and not see my wife and kids. I'm with you, man. Not seeing my kids would kill me. I mean, it's rough. It's rough when you can't see your children. Can't hold them, can't touch them. And I'm speaking from experience.
Well, now, see, now you bringing the kids into the fact. Yeah, it's tough, but you know what you're getting into. And the NBA let them come in after a certain time.
Derek Martin said, I'd look like Popeye. But listen, it's tough, and you think sometimes people think that they can handle things better than they can, and then once you get into it, it turns out a different way. Let's before we get into the NFL, let's talk a little bit of baseball. I want to talk about the season. The game, it looks like Denver's about to take out Utah, but you never know. It's a lot of time to go. The second half just started, 11:30 to go in the third. Denver leads 52-36 over Utah.
Over.
Say it again?
It's over.
You think it's over? You don't believe in the philosophy of the NBA, everybody makes a run?
I don't think anybody on Denver is good enough to make a run that far. They're going to choke.
What about Jamal Murray? You don't think he can put that team on his back like he...
Jamal Murray plays for Denver.
I'm sorry. I'm worried about Donovan Mitchell. That's what I meant.
Yeah,
Donovan
I don't think you're going to... Like, Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray are going to cancel each other out.
Okay. All right, let's move to a little bit of Major League Baseball. What are your thoughts on the season so far?
I don't know how to feel about baseball, man. I'm glad it's there because it gives you a little distraction to watch. But after 60 games, can you really say the best team is actually going to be the ones who win?
I don't think you can say the best team is going to be the one that won the championship. Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that this 60-game season, has it ginned up any sort of excitement for you to say, well, I don't have to watch 162 games. I'm good with 60.
No.
No?
No.
So you still believe in the 162 game season?
I believe in more than 60.
What would you be comfortable with? 80?
80, 100, somewhere around there.
I think somewhere around 180. I agree with you on that. I think somewhere between 80 and 100 would put more pressure. But then what about the fact that once we get used to, let's say they change to 100 games. Once we get used to 100 games, are we going to say the same thing? Oh, man, 100-game season is too long.
A true baseball fan, no, because, you really like baseball, you're going to watch it you're going to watch it and can keep going.
How many teams make the playoffs in baseball? 8?
This year? Yeah. They expanded, I do believe, is 8.
See, this is the thing about sports right now. Everything is so convoluted. Like I said, I'm confused, man.
And I don't
even know. Like, football starts in what? 10 days?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about that, and I'm like, wait, what?
I don't like the rules of baseball because now it's like it's a 60-game season, but if some teams don't get to 60 games, but they have a better winning percentage, they might end up being – that's how they're going to go off the rankings. Like, so what's the cutoff? If this team plays 60 games and this team plays 55, they're going to end the season, but the team who played 55 has a better record than the team that has 60, better win percentage, then they're going to be in first place. Like, that's just not – it gets into too many extra things going on.
That's absolutely crazy because you think about that and you say, well, the team that played the full 60 games is somewhat being penalized if they actually lost.
Right.
Now, let me ask you this. What are your thoughts on these 7-inning doubleheaders
I think they should transfer that to, like, the regular season.
Wait, you like that?
Yeah, because it's – and even so, I bet you talk to the players, the only ones who are not going to like it is the middle relievers. But I bet you a lot of the position players like it. It shortens it down.
Terrence Wilson said Jazz missed their chance. Nope, my Nats got hot late last year.
Yeah.
So I guess he doesn't like the short season. That couldn't happen this year.
Nope.
Mike Earps in chat says baseball has had issues with COVID spread already and a non-contact sport. How is football ever going to survive? We're going to get to that, Michael. We're going to talk about that very shortly. But Ghost, what do you – so wait, you like the 7-inning doubleheaders?
Yeah. You get 2 games in, they got to watch baseball for 6 hours.
Yeah, but what about the fact that baseball's a 9-inning game?
you're going by the old rules, man. Expand your mind and open yourself up to some new innovation.
So wait a minute. All right, let me ask you this: do these stats count toward a guy's career stats? Like if Fernando Tatis Jr. continues to hit, if he hits 35 home runs, you just say, oh well. He hit 35 home runs in a 60-game season. That's a great year. I mean, obviously, that's a great year. But how does that sit in the? Say it again.
That's a phenomenal year.
Well, yeah, I thought about it. It's coming out of my mouth. I'm saying
60 games.
But what is he at? He's at 20 already, so it's conceivable, right? Yeah,
but I mean, he's not gonna break the home run record. Now, if you break the home run record in 60 games, then you legitimately broke the home run record.
What if you would have hit 62? What if you hit 63 home runs, right? Not the Barry Bonds home run.
You're the greatest home run ever. Greatest home run hitter ever.
Who? Oh, yes. If you break 62 in 60 games?
Yes. That's like slow pitch softball.
What do you?
Now, if somebody hits 400 in 60 games, you can't mention them in the same breath as Ted Williams, who hit 400 over whatever 160 games at the time. You can't equate that at all.
Okay.
Home runs, yeah. Now, if you break the home run record, the season home run record in 60 games, then yeah, you can't dispute that.
I want to see who the home run leader is right now. Last time I heard it was let's see. Well, Trey Turner is batting 377. Juan Soto 367. So they might disagree with you.
Well, no, because you can't say you're as good a hitter as Ted Williams if you hit 460 games. No. You can say
Fernando Tatis Jr. has 13 home runs and 33 RBIs. He's tied for the lead with Nelson Cruz and Luke Voigt. Mike Trout is just behind him at 12.
I'm about to ban Mike Earps from chat.
Why? What'd he say?
I did enjoy the Mets hitting a walk-off home run at Yankee Stadium. That was so sickening and disgusting that the Mets got to be the home team at Yankee Stadium. Oh man, that hurt my heart.
See, that's other things like that. Like, why do they get to be the home team at Yankee Stadium?
Because they didn't want to drive back across the city to play a makeup game that was postponed at Citi Field.
So wait a minute. You're telling me
it was 2 games, I believe, this past weekend because they were supposed to play 2 games in Citi Field, but they got postponed because of the Mets had the COVID. Like, I guess somebody in the front office play had COVID.
Right.
So they postponed those 2 games, and since they played at Yankee Stadium the following weekend, they just moved those 2 games to a doubleheader and made the Mets the home team for those games.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You can't do that. See, that's ridiculous. Because they didn't want to what? Was it a COVID-19 risk assessment? So they didn't want to take them back to Chase Stadium?
No, they did that before too. I forget what other team they did it for with the Yankees. I don't know if it was Baltimore. It might have been Baltimore or somebody else who they had be the home team at Yankee Stadium.
Mike said New York City traffic. Gentlemen, hope all is well with you as well, Mr. Harvey. Thank you for joining us. This is In the Game, WBKS1Radio.com. In the Game with BKS1 Sports on Facebook, BKS1 Radio TV on YouTube. Check us out. Keep it locked. We're just getting our sea legs back under us with this coast-to-coast In the Game show. That's my man, Ghost, right there. I think that's where you go. Wait, no, it's this way. Yeah, it's this way. You this way. You that way. I'm O-Dog, the Stat Tech, and we are your In the Game hosts, man. I'm happy to be back. Ghost, let's talk. We got time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about. Let's move into some football. Let's segue into some football.
Oh, football season. I got another beef with your wife, man.
My wife? Why?
Every year in the fantasy draft, she takes a player that I wanted right before I was going to get him.
Who's that player this year?
I can't remember who. I got to look at the thing. I got me so aggravated. I was just frustrated. I looked at the name again. I was like, oh gosh. Second year in a row. We're going to have to break this thing up. Y'all can't be in the league together.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, I was drafted from my car. And I'm not even sure she was drafted. That might have been an auto pick.
Nah, it wasn't auto because she picked some of them, I think, because then it went off auto and it went back to auto. It was like 2 different things.
Okay, because she said she was just. Now, Ghost, let me ask you a question. This is a personal question for us. How did you feel about the time in between picks?
30
seconds?
You think
it was too short?
Nah, I love it. I like 30
seconds. I love it too.
Because I hate it when people have, like some of my drafts like a minute and 90 seconds, like 90 seconds.
Hey, Fanny, how are you? Welcome to the show.
That's a long time to wait for somebody to make their pick.
What, 40? What? Oh, the minute and 30 seconds?
Yeah, like 90 seconds. Yeah, that's a long time.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
So, yeah, what was it, 50 seconds or 30 seconds of yours is good. Because you should have it already ready.
I agree. I was thinking maybe 45, but
45 wouldn't be bad.
Right. Yeah, 45 I think is probably the right amount. So next year we'll do 45. But let's talk about the NFL. The NFL football season starts in 9 days. How do you feel about that?
I'm excited for it to start, but like I said, like Mike said in chat, how are they going to keep it going? I'm just not 100% sure that they're going to be able to make it through a whole season.
I am confused. I'm very confused. Hold on. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to feel. Normally, I'm excited. And I'm just not. I'm very pensive about the NFL starting. I do not believe we're going to get a full 16-game season. And what say you?
If they do get to 16, so they're lucky enough to get to 16 games. And they get to the playoffs, I think they might need to adopt the bubble concept in the playoffs.
Because do you think the NFL can pull off a bubble concept?
Well, if you're only down to, say, 16 teams, you do it in 2 cities.
Yeah, but what about, well, it's not going to matter because there's no fans. So, well, according to Jerry Jones, he said he's going to have fans in his stadium.
Jerry's an idiot. He says because his stadium is built for airflow. If he opens up the doors and the roof and the roof, dummy, every airflow is going to blow through every stadium. And of course it's going to move, but if you're sitting downwind from a person with COVID and they're breathing and yelling, where do you think the droplets are going to go?
And under that droplet principle, I am not going into a stadium full of screaming people, yelling and hooting and hollering. And even if they require masks, if a bad play happens, somebody's going to rip that mask off, throw it on the ground. Damn it!
Because then how do you worry about how many touch points are there going to be in the stadium?
Oh my gosh!
And then what about the bathrooms? How often are they going to clean the food concession stands? It's just so many things to think about when you talk about bringing. Even if they say you can use 20% capacity, that's 20,000 people in Cowboy Stadium. That'll be about 20,000 people in MetLife Stadium. That's a lot of places and a lot of people you have to worry about either wearing a mask, keeping social distance, and the touch points.
Shout out to my cousin De'Ara.
It's going to be difficult.
I just don't, you see how baseball is having trouble. They're having to cancel games, cancel series because of COVID-19 outbreaks. What do you think football is going to do? First of all, baseball has 25 players and a much smaller training staff. What do you think? How do you think the NFL is going to handle it if, say, there's an outbreak of 10 players on one team? Do you think what do you think they should do? Should they cancel that game? Will they cancel that game? Will they isolate those players? What are your thoughts on when? I won't say if, because by the very looks of it, it appears as though there's going to be an outbreak on an NFL team sooner or later.
Unless they expand the rosters,
which they have,
or expand the practice rosters, where if you do have an outbreak of 10 people, I don't know if you have enough to really cover for it.
Mike Gerbs in chat said it's going to be very hard to get those teams to play 16 games, and NFL teams don't have the depth in the system, to your point, to replace players like baseball. Rosters are way too small. Can't do double headers either to make up games. That's the other question. What happens if you have to cancel a game? How do you make that game up? When do you make that game up? Because it's 16 weeks. You can't come back and say, well, there's no doubt. I hadn't even thought about that.
And you can't say, I'm going to play 2 games this week, because they can't say, we'll play Sunday and Wednesday.
That's crazy.
I mean, they had to make adjustments on the fly, but worst case, like what if 2 of the 10 people are your quarterback, your starting quarterback and backup quarterback?
And see, then here comes the other issue with the NFL for me, Ghost. We know how the NFL is, right? Are teams going to be fully transparent is my question.
What, with COVID cases?
Yes.
You'd have to be.
Heck, wait a minute. Let me ask you this, Ghost. Are they going to be transparent with the players?
No, you'd have to be because I'm sure the testing place is going to tell you. Like, they can't, it's not going to be a team person. The team aren't doing it.
So you think it's going to be an objective testing center, an objective doctor?
Because the teams don't do the test. They take the samples. They have a doctor who's going to take samples, and the samples get sent out to testing labs. So, yeah, the report's going to be out there. And you got to have.
I don't know.
You're trying to keep too many people quiet to say, okay, if we have an outbreak on this team, nobody says nothing. No.
What's up, Soups?
Because
I'm suspect
of
NFL teams. You know me.
You know the legal ramifications that they face from that.
Ghost, they hid the effects of concussion for years.
Well, that's for that one player. If say I play for the Giants and you and your team comes out there and you had an outbreak. You don't say nothing, and y'all play against me. Then they got possible lawsuits from the team they played against, because you put everybody at risk because you wanted to hide the numbers. No.
But here's the thing: I was listening to NPR today, and I was listening to a doctor. How do you deal with asymptomatic COVID-19 patients? We don't know. How often do you think they're going to test these players?
They got to test them every day. They got to test them before every game.
All right, but are they going to get the test results on that day?
Well, they test them the night before. If they test them the night before, and then they say, well, you're isolated from the time of the test to the game, then yeah, they could basically say you're safe.
I don't trust the NFL one bit.
But see, lying about it won't do no good.
He said, Derek in chat says send him on the field with scuba gear.
Because even if the NFL says, all right, we're not going to tell you the truth, and all these players happen to get sick, you're going to cancel it anyway. You're not benefiting from not saying nothing.
You know, that's the other thing why I with fantasy, I wasn't even sure I was going to run the league this year. I just gauged the interest, and everybody seems interested, so I said, all right, let's do it.
Because fantasy's cool because the payout ain't until the end of the year anyway. So if the season canceled, you can easily refund everything.
Right,
and,
but
like
Terrence in chat said, he said he can't get excited either. I just don't know how to feel about, going into the season. Normally, I have some level of excitement. Right now, I have a level of cautious optimism. I don't feel like they're going to get through 16 games. I just don't see it. I don't believe it. And again, all right, so what happens if the Cowboys lose 2 games because of COVID? What are you going to go off a winning percentage? I mean, how are we doing this now?
I mean, I already got my mind made up. They ain't making it 16 games. So it is what it is. If they make it, I'll be okay. If they don't, I won't be shocked. So
I think that's my position, and I think that's why I'm not excited, because I don't believe they can get through 16 games. What are your thoughts on and while we're on football, we'll shift gears to MC. We'll come back to NFL, but Terrence said facts goes. We'll come back to the NFL, but let's talk about college. They're trying to put pressure on Kevin Warren to change the season, or at least start it a little bit later. What's the date that the SEC is supposed to start?
They want to start in the fall, right?
No. Well, they said they may start in the spring. You're talking about the Big Ten?
No, the SEC and the ACC.
I'm trying to figure out. Let me see. Let me check out the date. The SEC plans to begin its season on September 26th and conclude with the conference title game on December 19th in Atlanta.
Yeah. Good luck.
And
then they have in the first week of schools being back like 26,000 cases.
Now hold on, let's see what we got. In week 1, you got Kentucky at Auburn, Florida at Ole Miss, Mississippi State at LSU, Georgia at Arkansas, Alabama at Missouri, Tennessee at South Carolina, Vanderbilt at Texas.
See, this is my thing. You don't know what the long-term effects of COVID exposure is. You're always hearing something new coming out every day. You had the player, the one at Georgia Southern quarterback who can't play for the rest of the year for the heart condition. The baseball pitcher from Boston who's out for the season because of his inflamed heart from having COVID. I just read an article saying it can cause male infertility. people have got lung transplants. Does it affect people's livers? It affects people's kidneys. Like
Michael in chat said, hold on, goes. Michael in chat said, didn't Nike or Under Armour or Oakley create some face shield to help protect the players? I believe I heard something about that. Did you hear anything about that, Ghost?
No, I didn't hear anything about it, but that would be great. But here, a lot of players are going towards the face shield. I know a lot of NFL players are going towards it. But my whole thing about with college with the kids is you're asking them to go out there and entertain you for free.
Yes.
And you're giving professional athletes, okay, you can say, oh, you're getting paid millions to go out there. It's your job. You can do it. Okay, that's fine, understandable. But these young men are going to go play because you tell them to play because, they still want to chase their NFL dreams.
Well, that's Nick Saban's position. Guinea pigs. That's Nick Saban's position. He's doing it for the kids. It's not about the money, Ghost.
Yeah, right.
It's for the kids so that they can have the opportunities.
So what are you going to tell that kid if he gets COVID and all of a sudden it comes down and it finds out that it causes him to be infertile and he has a heart condition for the rest of his life now?
Well, according to Nick Saban, they can protect him better than their parents can.
Yeah, I feel you, Nick.
That's what Nick Saban just. Yeah. I mean, isn't that the theory?
That's what they want to tell people. That's
what they're saying.
That's exactly what they want to tell people. They also realize how much money these schools are going to be losing if they don't play.
Now, and now here it goes. You know how people say, "Shut up and dribble." Donald Trump had a meeting or a phone call with Kevin Warren, who's the head of the Big Ten, to try to, I guess, inspire him or convince him to play college football in the Big Ten. What are your thoughts on Donald Trump getting involved in a decision for college football?
I think politicians have more things to worry about than whether sports is played.
Well, isn't it interesting? Hold on.
If I'm the president if I was the president and you called me to say, "Hey, I think you should play football," you know what my response would be? Hey, we wouldn't be in this position if your dumb ass would have done something right the first time. We could have had it under control and been playing football in September. But you decided to sit on your hands and cry and say it was a hoax for all these months, and now you want to pressure us to get back and play so it looks normal for you and looks good? What's the benefit? And if you want me to play, then you sign this waiver saying that you will take care of any player that gets COVID and any related illness they might have for the rest of their life. You're going to be responsible and take care of their health care for the rest of their lives.
Well, here's the interesting thing. Some people are asking the question, and I'll ask you the question. Do you think that the fact that the Big Ten covers Ohio, Michigan, and Wisconsin, Nebraska, do you think that has any reason? I'm sorry?
Swing states who love football.
You think that's how that has any reason why he got involved in this situation?
He ain't called California where the Pac-12 is, right?
I do not believe he contacted the Pac-12.
Because he knows it don't matter out there. He ain't winning those states. But if he can tell Ohio, Michigan, oh, look, life is back to normal. We got college football. We got this, and I was able to get it done. It looks better for the people who might vote for him.
Michael in chat said even more crazy than NCAA players. Kids in elementary school are playing. It's insane. I've heard high school football is back in Indiana, in Ohio. High school football in Ohio, Ghost. And people are saying, the parents of the Ohio State football players are saying, listen, if high schools can do it, why can't we? You're the Big Ten.
Yeah, you're right. Why did it take y'all so long to get a plan together? What did the schools and the medical staffs and have from all this time from March, when it all started to blow up and get big? What did they do from all this time to say this is what our plan is? Your lighting went bad, though.
Wait a minute. Okay, hold on. I'm getting conflicting reports. Is that better?
Yeah, we were just dark a minute ago.
Okay. Jersey has football. New Jersey has, is that high school football? Has football starting on September 14th.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna see if it can make it through the whole season.
I don't.
College, I think it's tough because I don't think you're gonna be able to keep a bunch of college kids on campus away from each other where you're not going to have spread. It's not possible. Kids are going to get away to school. They're going to party. And you are not thinking about wearing a mask at a college fraternity party or in your dorm room. You're not doing it. Because in your 20s, you think it's not going to, I can beat anything.
I think these are unprecedented times. I think the Big Ten made the correct decision. I think the Pac-12 made the correct decision. I believe that they looked out for the long term, not only the short-term interests of their players and their students, but they looked out for the long-term interests of their students and the athletes. I think now people have talked about the difference in culture, Ghost, because in the South, as they say, football means more. It just means more.
Why?
Because it's a culture down there. It's part of the culture.
Football's the same game in New Jersey as it is down south, or as it is in California. It's a game.
But the people regard football down in the South is like a religion, Ghost. You know that. We know that.
They're stupid.
It's not the same in the Northeast.
They're stupid.
It's not the same.
They're stupid.
All right, let's get back to the NFL before we get out of here.
They're
we got
the
a
most
few minutes left.
brain-dumb people in the world.
What'd you say?
Like, they're dumb. These people really are idiots.
I don't disagree with you.
I ain't gonna use the word I wanted to use because I'm trying to be politically correct, but they're not smart. And they want to use
I don't disagree.
They want to use their kids as guinea pigs. That's amazing to me. All for what? A couple of months.
For football.
All for a couple of months. If they say, all right, we're going to push it all back until February or until March because, we can have something. We can have a treatment or a vaccine by then because we have all these drugs and vaccines that's in clinical trials getting close to the end. We should have something we know will be effective. Whether you start in October or March, if it really was for the kids and wanting them to play, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter at all.
Mike and Chad said, amen to that. People are dumb. Terrence said, oh, that's facts. Michael Harvey said, wait, why? Oh, I think he's talking about the high school football starting. Now, they talked about it in chat, this mouthpiece that Oakley has invented or created. But the NFL, in all its wisdom, is not requiring players to wear face shields. They're just encouraging players to wear new face shields.
What about the shield around the mouth? You only got the bars that's open.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a picture so I can see what the face shield looks like to see how I think. Hold on, let's see. Here's a Twitter pic because I haven't seen it. My wife's yelling at me.
Does it cover the mouth and the nose?
It covers the bars, pretty much the bar. Just it looks like it's just the bottom.
I got an idea. Why don't you put them out there in motorcycle helmets?
First of all, how do you come up with this stuff?
No, you think about it. A motorcycle helmet covers all the way down to your chin.
How does your brain work, Ghost? Because I'm really curious as to how you come up with this stuff.
I was just thinking about when you said it covers the mouth and the nose. Oh wow, a motorcycle helmet covers all that. I mean,
okay, I'm looking at it now. It looks like it has holes in it, so I'm not really sure how well it's going to protect you because it has holes in it, and I don't know how much slobber. They call it slobber knockering. But I don't know how much spit and slobber would come out of these things because I can't really see it as well as I would like to. But it does look like it might offer some protection.
I mean,
if you're
an
NFL player, are you wearing a face shield?
Yes. I'm an NFL player. I might wear a face shield and a mask underneath my helmet.
Now that's an interesting position. Oh, Terrence Jazz are making a run. It's the NBA, Terrence. I told you, everybody makes a run. Yeah, you called it over. You said it was over there. Terrence, I agree with Ghost too, though. They're not thinking.
I believe it was over.
Ghost, give me your gauge your level of excitement as it relates to the start of the NFL season on a scale of 1 to 10.
1.
Really? That low?
Yeah. I mean, my excitement has been 1 for years. At least 1.
I'm going to give it a 3.
I don't get excited until like the game really start to mean something.
No, I'm saying the start. Just okay.
I don't get excited for the start of any season. I get my excitement might build by game 4. That's the regular season.
I think it's got to be for me. It's a wait and see attitude. I just don't know what's going to happen, and I don't want to. This is going to be a weird NFL season. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to look.
Let's say for this year, my excitement is like I'll take it week by week. I don't think it's going to make it 16 games, but I'll take it week by week.
Yeah, I think that's the way. That's the approach. I think that's all you can do is take it week by week and hope for the best. I hope the players stay healthy. I hope they stay safe. You know, I can't believe that. I mean, it's going to be interesting. They're going to have to do a lot of testing because guys, you know, when you leave the field, what do? You go hug a guy, you go dap him up.
I will say this. Well, no, they're saying they don't want you hugging nobody after because they're stopping jersey exchanges.
So there's no high fives like Major League Baseball. It's going to be all elbow,
we'll see.
You know, air fives.
Yeah, maybe. But it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I'm looking forward to it. I would say about a 3.
And back to the testing part.
Mm-hmm.
You never, false results are always bad. Right?
Right.
But you would rather have a false positive than a false negative. And that goes for any kind of test you get. Because false positive, they're going to take steps to say, okay, you're positive. We'll isolate you. Or in any other case, we'll get you on the medication, whatever. And then if it comes out you don't have it, okay, cool. False negatives, I'd be more worried if they said they found a lot of false negatives with COVID testing than a false positive.
Real quick, how do you determine a false negative?
A lot of times they don't go by one test. They'll test it, but they want to confirm the results. So they'll probably test you again. And
so you think now is it 2 different tests? Is it 2 types of tests?
Be the same test. They'll probably just run it again, maybe with a different kit, maybe with a different analyst. They'll run it again.
Okay, so you can I understand what you're saying. So they're going to test them twice.
They want to confirm,
and then
we're going to they want to confirm the results. Especially if it's something major like that, we got to confirm the results.
So there's no chance of a double false negative. Is that possible?
No, it's kind of hard.
Okay.
Percentage wise, because if it's there, it's there. Like you can't just. It's going to find it if it's there.
What would trigger? Then why would it find it on the first one? What would trigger a false negative? That
sample collection, the analyst. Like a lot of times, I think false negative and false positive isn't on the test kit. Sometimes it's on the analyst and how their technique in running it. False positive can be if it was from the lab being contaminated, the kit got contaminated, so it can come up as a false positive.
Okay.
But if it's a false positive, it wouldn't be one kit. You would see that throughout the whole lot of kits.
Oh. So it's a defect in the testing kit.
Remember when they said the CDC had contaminated kits and they were giving out bad results? Yeah, because they contaminated kits in a manufacturing stage. So then that's how it went out. I mean, I can get to the whole deeper talk about it, but
we'll save that for next week. Let me just get before we get out of here, Ghost.
I was wrong. Okay, Utah's only down by 1 now.
I told you this thing. Everybody makes a run.
Yeah, they're gonna blow their wad and get tired and gonna lose.
Not if you're only down by 1.
Yeah, they had to go. They had to make a strong run. They're gonna get tired. That's how everybody does. They're gonna make a run, get it even, get tired. The other team's gonna pull ahead because they didn't have to play as hard, and then game's over.
Let's close out with some final comments in chat. Washington football team 0. I don't know what that means, but now we have Rivera a lot more if they have a season. Hopefully Rivera from Michael Earps is able to coach. Sad to hear. That's right. He does have cancer. Shout out to him and his family. Hopefully he makes a full recovery. Supposedly it's treatable, I heard. Michael Harvey. So you just spend 2 hours smacking each other down, but you can't shake hands at the end.
And that's what Richard Sherman said. Said we could spend time tackling each other for 2 hours, but we can't sign jerseys and exchange them after the game. He said that makes no sense.
Yeah, I know, right? And Terrence said to Mike, yeah, I know, right? He said a high chance of beating it if caught early. Only tackle, but don't high five. Shout out to all the people that joined us. We appreciate your support.
If they actually change the rules from tackling to two-hand touch with no pity pat, then I think we'll make it 16 games.
Listen, if you're going to do two-hand touch, you should be able to high five because if you
ain't tackling about it. I can just tap you on your back. Up, now you're down. That's it. Or 1, 2, 3 hold. Y'all don't remember those games. Y'all don't remember playing football.
I remember that. That's why you're making me laugh. Did you just say 1, 2, 3 hold?
Yeah, you had to hold the person. Yeah, you know.
Talk about old school. You got to be 40 plus to know that game.
Yeah.
Oh man, I think that's a great way to end the show. We should just go like the 1, 2, 3 hold till next week. Shout out to Mike Earps, Terrence Wilson, Mike Harvey, Derek Martin, my beautiful wife Trisha. Soups was in
Trisha,
there.
we got problems. I got problems with you, Trisha.
My cousin De'Ara.
You gotta stop taking my players.
Fanny jumped in
there. and I told a buddy of mine, I was like, look, my buddy and his wife is in our fantasy football league. I said, she keeps taking all the players I want. I was like, so if they ever work a trade between each other, I am voting against every single trade you guys make if it's between y'all two.
That's not fair.
Hey,
but we don't make trades really. And my wife, her level is about a 1 too. So her level of interest and excitement for this season is probably about a 1. You know, my lighting gets bad because I use the sun, and the sun's going down on the West Coast. Ghost, thanks for joining. You know, I appreciate you putting everything together.
We'll talk. We'll talk about the setup too later on. I'll text you later on. We can talk about it. Get something to help
Absolutely.
out. Absolutely.
I will talk more about that so we get better lighting and I can make a more. This is a professional outfit. We're gonna do it professionally for you folks. Ghost, as we always say, you cannot
play the game unless you are in the game.
In the game. Keep it locked. Next week,
yes,
9 o'clock. I will be on the East Coast, so we will be on the same time frame. And then we'll be, I don't know how that's going to work, but we'll figure it out. We'll do it remote and everything, and we'll talk before then goes. Have a great night. Everybody have a great night. Mike Harvey said, so we doing 1 Mississippi. How many Mississippis before we rush?
10.
7 Mississippi.
Come on, man. Nah, you know 10. That's how it always been. You got to do 10
That's what I'm telling you. You used to go 7, man. No, you got to give me 7 Mississippis.
Yeah, you got to go 10 Mississippis until you come in.
My wife said maybe we could put flag football on there. Oh, no, that's Michael that said flag football. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Yes. Love to you all. Be safe out there, all right? Enjoy the week.
That's a pleasure. Thank you for joining in.